Hello Leo, welcome back to my channel The Vibes Inside. I am Mariana and I'm here to do your next reading, Leo. So I'm just preparing here, starting. First of all, I felt when I was sitting down and settling in here for your reading, I felt that I should have this a sense of like a protective shield around myself. So it could be something about like staying true to yourself and needing to, like just get off my back somehow, to other people perhaps. In whatever sense that what you are doing or what you are wanting to figure out or to achieve, that there's something where other people may need to just back off in some sense. We're in the Aries season right now, so this is also a fire season. So we'll see what could be here. Like maybe you are planning something. I hear an escape, planning an escape. Is that necessary for Leos to escape? Maybe. I just feel like, for me, like a full grown or a very like vibrant Leo would just say it. Like they would just say, well, this is not for me, I'm out of here, right? So an escape feels a bit like a retrieving, Now I get something like battlefields in old age, like with the horns, like the horns and everything, and like this idea that if you've made an attack and you wanted to, or you figured out that you were about to lose something, you would make you would retrieve, right? It's almost like I'm hearing the horns of retrieving. I'm hearing the horns of retrieving. Yeah, and now something like licking my battle wounds, something like that. So it may be that you have been in some situation and figuring out that you couldn't win or you couldn't have a triumph. So you are you're leaving or escaping it and healing somewhere, that you're healing, licking your war wounds, and in that process you need, like to shelter yourself, that you cannot have anything that comes in because you are still in that process of healing something. So maybe this is something that has happened currently, or maybe it's something that is coming, or you have been in this process for a while. And this is interesting because like you're the sun energy here in tarot, right? It's like you are the strong one, you're the big one, you're the victor. Or but I well, this is generalized, of course, right? You can be a Leo sun, but if you are, let's say you are let's say your Leo sun is in the 12th house. Then the sense of success can be fleeting, right? It can be on off, it can be there and not there, or just partially there, or and the shadow side of Pisces, or the 12th house is Pisces. The shadow side of Pisces is escapism. So let's say you have your Leo sun in the 12th house, then you would have this like an on and off, or a feeling that your sun is only sometimes shining and sometimes not, or it's sometimes there, sometimes not, or sometimes you can engage, sometimes you cannot, or you know, like, and I don't know why I talk about the 12th house or Pisces. Maybe you're dealing with a Pisces, Leo. Because Pisces has this escapism thing about it. Or let's say your ascendant is in the, like, it's in, like, your ascendant is Pisces, right? So you are Leo sun and then your ascendant Pisces. Then you can have this on or off, or you have your moon sign is Pisces, for instance. Then you will have this feeling of like it's there, but then sometimes not there, right? It's an urge to shine, but also to escape, perhaps. Like the sun is usually, no, I believe that the sun is truly who we are, like on the inside. What are you, Leo? From a tarot perspective, if we look at Leo isolated, like with no other influence from moon signs and Mars or Venus signs or Jupiter or anything, if you just look at the sun's, or like sun Leo, it would be a forward striving energy. It is masculine, it's fiery, it has a plan, it knows where it's going, it has momentum, it has drive, it has stamina, it has strength, it will endure, it will succeed, right? It will be in the spotlight, it will have attention, it will be adored, it will have followers, it will be a leader. Because that is just how the Leo is. It is made like that. But we all have influence in our chart that is more. We are a mix. We are not only the sun sign. Actually, your ascendant could be way more present in your life sometimes, depending on, well, how well adjusted all your energies are, or how well you are functioning, you would say. If you have a big trauma, your sun could be dimmed, right? I have that feeling here, and I have talked about this before for Leos, right? And I don't know, maybe it's because I come from like a scapegoat orientation myself, that I tend to connect with Leos that have this thing around them. This is terrible for Leo. Like, Leo scapegoats. This is terrible. Because Leos do have momentum, they do have power, they do have leadership, and they shouldn't crawl and crumple and curl down, right? They should own up, they should know this about themselves. And maybe you don't. Like, maybe you have been, maybe you are escaping your leadership. Like, maybe you are escaping your power. That when you feel power, you get frightened of yourself and you retrieve, you know? Or when there's something you actually do want to fight for, you can feel the momentum rising in you, but then you get scared and then you retrieve. I have that feeling here. It's like, and then, no, right? So either you are afraid of your fire, like you could be afraid that what your fire could cause, especially if your fire is not well yielded. And with that, I mean that if you didn't have as a child the opportunity to work your way through your fire, you don't know how to handle it. Like every time you showed a bit of momentum, or roar, you were shamed, or you were, like, and now I get something like you were set outside of the door, like outside, and the door was slammed in your face. You were set outside, you were shoved out. That every time you showed momentum in some sense, or you wanted to fight for yourself, you were just put aside, So you never had the opportunity to show that fire and actually win an argument, for instance. Like maybe you never had the chance to win a fight or win an argument or climb the mountain and succeed, have success in some way with your Leo energy. Like that the fire is the way you have success. Because you can roar, you do have strength, you have perseverance, you can actually budge through something, right? But if those who were closest to you did not allow you to ever explore this energy, you could have been made small. I've talked about this before for Leos, I know that. Like a Leo, a lion that acts like a dog, a follower. A dog follows. It has a master and it follows its master. But you are the master. Like you are the Leo. The dog would follow the Leo. Right? But here it feels a little bit like there's something that has taken the Leo out of the Leo. Like the fire, there's no fire in the Leo. Maybe there's water in the Leo instead. So there's sensitivities and feelings and maybe becoming overwhelmed by your own attempt to do something, and then it's like all the fire gets drowned in your feelings, perhaps. And I talk about Pisces. I don't know if there's something about water here. So again, I have this connection with some Leo energy where there is a mastery level, like this, the ownership of taking leadership and go forward like that, is because this is by all means. Like sometimes the Leo has to go forward even though those around them are not supporting it. One scenario could be that you are a young Leo, you want to defend your country, you want to be a soldier, you want to defend your country, you want to be a patriot, you want to, and that is your drive, right? You want to do that. But then you have parents that are worried about you, or you have sisters or siblings or brothers or uncles, and they have been in the army, they have done this, and they have, they don't have maybe the best experience from it. So they will maybe tell you that this is not like, you have all the stamina to go for it, you know what you want and you want to fight for it, right? And then all these influences come in that tell you that this, you don't know what you're doing, you have no idea what you are going to face out there. I'm worried about you. What if you are going to be injured or killed, or so it's going to it's try to draw you back, right? It wants to draw you back, but you have this drive that you want to move forward. So if you truly want it, you may need to do it without, even if others are, and maybe that's why I said in the beginning that you have to maybe protect yourself right now from whatever influence come in, because it's like it's not helping you in your endeavor. And now I even have this feeling that it's not even helping you heal, right? That who may want to call you back, they just want to call you back into a state of woundedness. And in that state, you have no way of healing. Like, one of the ways to heal, I actually believe, is to get out of some situation and let it be what it is, no matter how guilty you could feel or whatever. And when you get out, cloak yourself or somehow isolate yourself or walk away, and then you need time to heal, lick those wounds. Because when you lick those wounds, you do actually call your fire back. You're calling your leadership back. But you cannot do it as long as you have this influence. Like, if your drive is that I want to heal myself, I want my fire back, and people are telling, no, but you should be here, or what about this, and what about this, and what about this, and what about this, and all it becomes it drowns all the worries, all the feelings, all the bad conscience, all the pride, or all the egotism that may come from others. Or, as I just said, you have this momentum, I want to do this, and then your feelings come. Yeah, but I can't, I will disappoint them, or what will they think? And what about, they will not like it, or my sister, and they will not, or my brother, but I have risk, but what about my kids? And what about, my spouse? And what about, And these whatabouts are excuses, right? They are your emotional excuses for leaving, or for taking action, or to set your course and go. The whatabouts are all the things that we can put up as bumps in the road that are stopping us from actually going, right? Because if I do go, all these whatabouts will be my bad conscience. I will have to leave all of it behind. All the judgment that may come from these whatabouts, all the disappointment, all the I have to go anyway, and don't look back, If I look back, I will be drawn back. If I listen to the whisper here, the calling back here, if I listen to it, I can't leave, right? I cannot leave and stay at the same time. There is a sacrifice that needs to be made in order for you to get out, find a place where you can heal, where you are left alone. This influence is not there, and you can lick your wounds. And when you lick your wounds, you call back your leader, you call back your fire. But make sure that this place is supporting you, right, in your healing process. Because I believe that scapegoats, they play a role in a family. there is a necessity for a scapegoat. I believe scapegoats, they are just trash bins, emotional trash bins. Like they are yelled at and accused of stuff, and it's like you just become this giant trash bin of all like the family's bad emotions. Like it's put on you, and you can do nothing about it. Like it's just like the role you get. It's like you just get all this crap in your head. And then we take it in, we believe there's something wrong with us, and we are the bad one, and we're the black sheep and everything. But I don't think you are. I don't think any of the scapegoats are. It's just that it serves a purpose in the family. When the family doesn't know how to handle their emotions, they don't know how to get relief, they just shove it in the head of the scapegoat. The one that doesn't fight back necessarily, because their weapons have been put down, you know. The weapons have been taken from them early on. So now they are in a position where they cannot fight back. So now we can just shove all this shit in the head of them, right? We can just yell at them, right? And they are not yelling back. So eventually you walk around with this giant rucksack of all this yelling, right? Or all this accusing, and we take it personally. We think where there's something wrong with us. As children, we think it's our fault, we've done something, we are bad or something like that. And I don't think it's true. I just think that the family, the members there, they need an outlet. They need a way of like shoving away all their problems. So they just push it on something, on someone. But you see, and actually you need to reload that or take it off. Like this rucksack has to go, right? It has never been yours. It's not yours to carry. It's old. It's probably, I really believe that you have probably not done much wrong. Like you're just you, right? But it doesn't mean that it's easy to take it off and reclaim that power, reclaim that flame, reclaim that leadership, and trusting in it, because you've never had the chance to figure it out. You never had the chance to work on leadership. Like you were never given an opportunity to figure it out and play with it, you know, just like, oh, maybe with friends, like maybe you have tried it out with friends, or maybe you haven't even dared to. But in your family system, probably not. Like not if you resonate with what I'm talking about here. Then it's dimmed. And like to dim the sun, this is very difficult. It's draining energy. It should definitely come out and be seen. And but again, if it's not, if you haven't played with it as a child, you haven't had your successes and also not your failures. I believe every Leo goes through like this idea of tempering the fire can be difficult, you know, if you've never had a chance of yielding that fire. What are you dealing with, a match or a campfire? And if your temper gets up and you can't control it and it becomes this forest fire, how do you get it, you know, under lock again? Or how do you get it under control again? And I think this is one of the fears, that you are fearing that if you actually let go, you can't control it. So you'd rather escape from it. Like when you feel that it's coming, you'd rather escape, close it down when it's possible. um, than having it come out. Maybe this is what happened when you were a child. Maybe it did come out in a very immature way because you were a child and you got very punished for it, right? And after that, you probably haven't done it again because you received a lot of punishment for it and shaming or guilt feelings. So now when you just feel a bit of it coming to the horizon and you can feel how you are like the volcano in you is erupting, it's like you do everything you can to shove it down. Or you have to leave a situation, like you have to walk away from it. Otherwise you know that you will not be able to control what's coming out of you. And that's exactly what happens also, I think, for Leo children, because it's so big. Like the fire is so big and it has so much momentum. So it's difficult to handle it. But Leos are actually equipped to. Like they are equipped to learn how to handle it and focus it in a specific direction. So instead of being, like just having this anger or aggression inside, and you're running from it sometimes, or you're leaving situations where there could be a confrontation, you could learn to focus it in a particular direction that actually is in your benefit. But you haven't had that opportunity. Maybe you need a teacher, someone who has succeeded in this. If you know another Leo, you could maybe ask them. You can look up maybe people that are dealing with, well, it's probably called anger management. I would call it fire management. It has, because there is so much good potential in fire, but there's definitely also destructive fire energy. So anger, well, yeah, but it's not just that. There is enormous leadership potential in the Leo energy. So it's about figuring out how to handle it. And maybe, like retrieving or escaping is well, it depends on the situation, but if you are escaping because you are afraid of your fire, are you escaping because you see you cannot win? And then you escape with the feeling of failure. And you're licking your wounds, and you know that you can stay here and think that you are a failure. And you can never ever launch a direction like that again. Because now you have an experience that you are a failure, that you don't have what it takes. But what if you do have what it takes? That this is just one experience, and it shouldn't be. Like one experience should never be the only one, like the only attempt. One is just one. It doesn't mean that you won't have success. It doesn't mean that you can't have triumph. Maybe you need a little training. Maybe you need a little more knowledge. Maybe you need a little guidance, and then you can launch, right? But one, it's interesting. I've had this idea of the one. What was it? Was it Gemini? A bit in Cancer also. This idea of one can put the brake on everything. Like we can get absorbed and obsessed about the one that didn't work out, and it can actually stall any forward movement. That one failure can be the blocking for everything else. Just because one is not, I talked about something like, if a surgeon is not able with a so-called routine operation to save a patient, like coming out of that operation where this patient was lost, this can almost shock the surgeon to the point that they stop practicing. Like it's such an overwhelm because they didn't expect it. Like they were pretty sure they could handle this. This is a routine thing, or this is easy. This is a walk in the park for me. I've done this 100 times before. But something happened during this operation and I lost this patient, and I still I don't understand why. And it has somehow created a block, right? That is leaving me with a sense of loss of self-confidence. And so much so, if the doctor or the surgeon decides I'm not going to practice anymore because of that one time. But what about the other hundreds that you did do, and they healed, that these patients were, they were healing, they were getting better. What about them? Like, shouldn't you be able to practice still, though you've had one failure, though you've had one mistake? Shouldn't you be able to still perform, or to still, it's like a writer's block, or like because there has been some criticism from some viewer or an actor or something, that because of some event that somehow hurt you in some way or shocked you in some way, you shouldn't be able to stop everything you're doing just because of that. Like, because of one bad event, you shouldn't withdraw from the scene, or you shouldn't escape necessarily. You shouldn't believe that you are this failure now, and that you have nothing to offer, or that you have nothing to bring to the world, or that you are like a mistake or something. That it was a mistake even to attempt this. No, we shouldn't be stopped by one bad experience and take it personally, and like that it overwhelms us with such enormous feeling of defeat in some way. Normally I don't see Leos like that, but again, you could have water replacements, and if you do, then maybe that's why. There is this one thing, one experience, maybe two, but you could have hundreds others that were fine. But because of this event or these two events, no, I'm done, I'm out, I'm not dealing with it anymore. I can't. I'm a failure in this. So I'm leaving this, right? Maybe you should leave. I'm not saying that it's, again, if you have a lot of water in your chart also, it will influence you in some way. But it doesn't mean that you can't find, like, for instance, if you are a Leo and your Leo is in the 12th house of what I said, Leos can be fleeting. It can be this in and out feeling. It can be a bit of a dreamy world. It can talk about other realms and things like that. I could see a writer here. Someone who writes about, let's say, angelic realms. You could be a writer or a storyteller or a playwright who speaks about spiritual realms, unicorns, dragons. You could be a writer, and here you could shine your sun on a project that you are controlling entirely, because it depends on the realm you connect with, right? The Piscean is usually a very it's very it's spiritual usually. It can be religious even. It can be both. It can be, you can see other worlds, you can see other creatures, you have knowledge that come from outside and in. You could write about this, right? You could have a blog about this. This is where you could shine your light. And you control this entirely because it's your world, like it's Piscean. It's spiritual. It's psychic. And if people are criticizing you, yeah, well, they can do that, but actually they can't, because this is your realm, right? You set the scene. Like if you become a playwright, you are setting the scene. You are creating the scenario in this psychic world. It's what you are seeing. It's what you are tapping into. What other people say, well, maybe they can't see it like you. It doesn't mean that it can't be successful. It doesn't mean that it can't be great. If you have a Leo in the 12th house, you could be a great healer. You could be extremely clairvoyant, something like that. And even though others around you may not understand it, it doesn't mean that it isn't true. It doesn't mean that it's wrong. So I just have this feeling like there's this water that can kind of dim the fire. That even before you ignite, it's like the tsunami comes, right? That just kind of extinguishes this flame somehow. So maybe you are dealing with a Pisces, right? Or maybe you are you have Pisces or water strong in your chart as well, surrounding this fire you have. So it's interesting to see if this is fire and there's water here, for instance. Let's have a look, right? Wheel of Fortune, Page of Water. We definitely have water here. So it says here the goddess of light. Yes, of course, you are the sun. Look at her. Look at how it beams from her, right? The goddess of light. We are all sacred mirrors reflecting back the same light. Interesting. Amaterasu, she's called here. We are all sacred mirrors reflecting back the same light. Interesting. Now I get this feeling of like, let's say that you have grown up in a family where there has been Leo energy present already. So one of your parents may be Leo. You would then be the one that just mirrors back exactly the same light as your parent had. But because your parent had, you could say, certain beliefs, and they don't want a rival in you. Like if two Leos are present in the same family, one has to be the leader, because otherwise you have two, and they will try to rule and lead in their own way. So if Leo energy has somehow been present or similar, fixed energy or strong energy, like your opposite is Aquarius. There could have been an Aquarius there. They are very fixed in their settings. So again, you see, if you're up against something that is a mirror, if you have a parent who is Leo or has Leo strong in their chart, Leo Mars or something, they cannot have you be a rival to leadership. And they would probably have, done something to keep you second or third or fourth, right? You could be a mirror that just reflected back the exact same light. It says here, we are all sacred mirrors reflecting back the same light. This is interesting because it tells me something about we are all a part of like one giant light. Everybody, all zodiacs has a specific light to bring, and when we take all of them together, we get this bright, big sunlight, you could say, or this bright, big unity light. So the light that you bring originally, your original light, is just as important than any other light in the world or in our world here. Like it's needed. It's needed here. If it's dimmed, it's like it weakens the entire and the mirror, like the what you have here and what you're shining here is just a reflection back of the same light that you have been facing. So either someone had similar Leo energy and they, that they could not give up their leadership position and having you as a rival, or that what you are reflecting right back to someone else is the wounding, right? That your particular light as a Leo, that the woundedness of it is just reflecting back to maybe your parents exactly the same wounding they may have, right? That we are all mirrors reflecting back the same light as what is in front of us or what is so if you had a Leo parent who was very domineering and wouldn't allow you to explore your own light, to explore your own leadership, it's because they probably have been wounded themselves. So that's the idea of the reflection, that you reflect back the same light. That if you have a certain light around you, it's a reflection of something that is exactly the same, that you have mirrored or you have somehow taken it in, taken the burdens on or accepted in some way. In your root position, I have the Page of Fire here, so a young water. And I'm reading for Leo, right? Like this, it doesn't make sense. Again, this can be Pisces energy. So you may have roots of water, meaning that maybe you grew up where there was a lot of water. That could also be it. You were growing up with parents who were water signs. or had a lot of water. There was a lot of water around you. And water is not very necessarily fond of fire. Like it's too aggressive. Like the fire is too aggressive for water people, right? So if your roots are that you come from family where there is a lot of water, they would probably have dimmed it. Like it's too aggressive. Page is young, it's immature, it's sensitive, it's like a child. It takes things personal because children do that. When parents are fighting, it's like the children, somehow the response is always that the children believe that it's their fault somehow. They believe it's their fault. They take on so much like responsibility for what is happening in the home. So I feel like there could be something here, like your roots, Leo, could actually still be quite watery. Again, this can be, like taking things personal, being young at heart, still being sensitive to what is happening around you. Feeling things very strongly. And I want to say Page of Water is usually also healer children, right? They want to fix it, right? They are kind, they are considerate, they are compassionate. Like they want to help. That's usually also what this is. Like they want to help. They want to contribute. They want cooperation and they want peace, right? So if there's turmoil, they want to help it. They want to fix it. They want to heal it. And then when we have the sun here and it has these roots to it, I want to say it makes even more sense that we are all sacred mirrors reflected back the same light. That if you come from, or you have this orientation in you, that you have grown up with something like this, that you have to be considerate, you have to be kind, you have to be again also young, and when you're young it means that you have to respect a hierarchy. It means that you are still the one who is learning, that you are the one who is not in charge necessarily. So if you grow up with a feeling of this, like you're the one, you're not in charge, you're still learning, you're young, but you're kind, you're considerate, you're psychic maybe, you are like supposed to take in a healer role more than a warrior, like you are a peacekeeper more than a warrior. You are that the peace and calm and cooperation and working together in the family and expecting the roles here is of vital importance. If that is what you come from, your light will reflect that, or your missing light, like your fire will reflect that. So it means that the sun you have, the Leo in you, will have an orientation towards this, right? Because it's inbuilt in you. You have it in you. This is what you've learned. This is what you've learned to trust. You have along the way maybe accepted it. Maybe you found your role here. As again, as I said, the scapegoat is usually also sometimes, but not always, the youngest, because they are more defenseless, right? They don't have the same power as the parents. They don't, or the elderly. They don't have the same power as older siblings. And again, the values, like the value, this represents values around you, watery values, right? Watery values of being healers, helpers, kind, motherly, empathic, understanding. Again, peacekeepers, not warriors. And if this is what you grow up in, like this has value, then your fire is not of value. The fighting is not being applauded, right? It's being yelled at, or it's being dismissed. It's being like you will be sent outside the door. You will be sent away, you could say, or like it's being, your fire could be devaluated. You will be discarded or sent outside the door if you show your fire. So your fire reflects that, right? Today, your fire reflects the water here. But then in the crown position, I have the Wheel of Fortune, and this is interesting. The Wheel of Fortune, well, it is said that the Wheel of Fortune can either turn in your favor or against you. Like the Wheel of Fortune can, if it, we can see it as a chakra, so that if it is spinning clockwise, it should be in your favor. If it spins the other way around, it could actually cause problems for you, right? So here we could have actually a person who does have fire, but because of the roots, or because of this inbuilt, or the programming you have received, like the values there, like if you have to be true to them, you cannot be a warrior at the same time. And therefore, in your crown position, the crown position is your thoughts, your brain, the way you communicate, the way you like take action, like the choices you've made, the choices you're making or trying to make. So whether this wheel is spinning in your favor or not. Because you see, it's like you have water and then you have fire, and they are debating here. Because I do think that you have a warrior in you actually, but you have watery roots. So it's like, so being aggressive, like again, you see the problem here, right? If you become a bit aggressive or angry, then immediately something from your subconscious is telling you, now you're unkind. It's not kind to be aggressive. It's not kind to be a warrior. You know, now I get this reference to, if you have seen the series on Netflix called, or just the series called Divergent, which talks about this society with these factions in it. And the factions are divided according to beliefs and according to values. And there is one of them that is actually quite like this. I don't recall exactly what it's called, but they are very humble. They are healers and helpers. They help the homeless and the factionless in that society. They help the ones that have little. Like they are very Samaritan-like. And if you have grown up in a family like that, like where these are the favored values, you have to be a helper, you have to be very kind and you know, non-judgmental, you help the ones in need, you know, things like that. But then you may have your own, you know, like, yeah, but I want to do this, right? And every time you get this feeling, yeah, I want to do this, then your subconscious is coming up here, yeah, but this is not kind, you know. We are helpers, we are healers. If you want to be like aggressive like that, anger is not acceptable, you know. Aggression is not acceptable. We are healers. Or we stand in love, not war. You know, we are peacekeepers, you know, things like that. Then it's going to, like, you will have a conflict here about how to, and that's why your sun is reflected exactly from like back from the life you have received, right? That if your light cannot be Leo-like if you at the same time has to be a peacekeeper here. Or a lover, you know. A lover of life, a lover of like life forms, a lover, you like non-judgmental. We are, you know, like the staff that works in an ER, like the ER, the emergency room, like they cannot judge the patients that come in. Like even though they may be homeless, they smell, you know, they haven't had a bath in 14 days. There's urine everywhere or whatever. They can never judge. Like they have to put whatever judgment, personal judgment aside. They're looking at someone who is in need of help, and they are Patreons. They are healer Patreons. They have decided, they have like they're devoted to helping those in need. No matter what color or where they come from or their like social status or anything, they help anyone who comes in. You know, it doesn't matter. Even though they know that, okay, this alcoholic, I will now treat his broken arm because he fell in his drunkenness. And he will probably do something similar tomorrow. But I don't mind, like I put that aside. I will help them now, no matter what. And tomorrow they will be sent away again, probably into the streets, probably right back into alcoholism. But I'm doing my job right now, in this moment, without judgment, without anything. And this is, you know, the way that we do things in our family. We don't want to judge them. We don't want to, you know, be like next time they come in and they may have a broken leg, I will not, you know, send them away, because this is my job. This is what I do. So for some reason, I feel like you can take, you know, you can take your deepest wounding or your deepest wounding, or your if this is your programming, and you can use it to make the wheel of fortune spin in your favor, right? So you can say to yourself, yeah, even though I have fire here, and I want to use my fire on something very particular, I may not how can I say that? It's like you can take your deepest wounding and make it into your greatest fortune, if you allow yourself to see what you've learned from it. Maybe you learned humility here. Maybe you learned to be humble. Maybe you learned to not judge people. Maybe you learned to, and maybe if this was fire, and you grew up with fire, and you learned to yield it, you got help to heal it, you learned how to work with it, you were inspired by it, and everything, your fire would be different. But let's have a look at what you learned. Like maybe you could take your greatest wounding and turn it into instead of that it messes with your mind and you can't seem to figure out how to find a path forward, that it makes you confused, right? Instead of that, maybe figure out if you can use it somehow. What did you learn here? Maybe you learned humility, as I said. Maybe you learned that there are other values than just, than just brutally moving forward and having it your way no matter what. Like maybe you learned to listen here. Maybe you learned to have an open mind or an open heart. Maybe you learned to love. Maybe you learned something about non-judgmental behavior or style. And of course, you can see it as it has prohibited something. That maybe you feel like that this is a break for you. Like it breaks your forward momentum. But you can, or maybe it does. Like maybe it does. Maybe it makes you confusing. Maybe it makes life confusing. Maybe it has made your, like personal progress a problem. Like maybe you feel like that your wheel of fortune couldn't move. Like you could never have success in life because of it. That that this is a break, right? That it functions as a break for your momentum here, for your forward moving momentum. And maybe it does. Like there could be, again, the sense of failure, that you're the child that never, like you got overwhelmed by the failure feeling. The failure is not success, it's the killing of it. Like that is it's the dimming of it. So whatever you are experiencing or whatever is here can act either as a teacher, in the sense that you have learned something here. You have learned something about, again, if you have a lot of momentum as a Leo and you just thrive forward without never looking back, you can be quite brutal. You can end up hurting those that are closest to you. You can learn something from this, or you can learn from your failure. What happened in that failure? What was it that became the block, the writer's block, or as I say, the surgeon that, because of this one experience, left him, frozen in some way. It's like from that way forward, it has blocked his, like, confidence in himself, right? So this could be someone who is stuck in a confidence problem. And can you learn something from that? What happened? If you know what happened, maybe you don't know what happened. You just know that your light is directly reflected from this. That your light reflects in the water. So every time you want to take action, you see the water. You see something comes up that is maybe unwanted or young here, right? like a young version of you comes to the surface and shows itself. Every time you want to stand up for yourself, or every time you want to, this one comes along, and maybe this one escaped, right? Maybe this one needed to escape, run away, because it was too difficult to handle. And you see that directly reflected in your light here. But the point is that others do too. Like, so you could be a Leo, but when people look at you, they can see that you are questioning your own sun. Like, they know that you're questioning it. That could be the reason why you don't get the job. It could be they can feel it. That could be the reason why you have problems initiating fortune in your life. It just seems like it's not working. But it could work if you realize whatever this is that may hold you back. You could decide, what have I learned from this? What kind of values are here that I could take with me? As I say, it depends on the crippling. Like, has it crippled you in some way? Because then I believe you should definitely attend to these wounds. It could also be that it's something that you could learn from it. You could take something from it. And then turn it into your fortune, right? Some of the values here could have determined what kind of profession you chose. Whereas if this has not been your roots, if there were fire here, maybe you would have chosen another profession. You know, it all depends on whether is it serving you in some way still. Can I get a card on this page of water, please? Is there a problem here that as long as this is present, it keeps you from maybe pursuing another job, and therefore it blocks your wheel of fortune? But is it because you are questioning your wheel of fortune? What if you are afraid of success? What if you are fearing the spotlight of success? What if you are not ready for it? Then this serves as a very convenient block here. If you are somehow afraid that this wheel would actually start to turn in your favor and you would actually have success. If you have convinced yourself that you are a failure. But it all comes from here, I think, right? That there's something to in a water world. As I said, if you have been surrounded by water when you grew up, water has value there. It is of importance there. And water people like this. But maybe you hate it, right? Or maybe you don't feel at home there. You don't understand it. It has no value to you. You don't see the value of being like, well, it's not that being kind is you just don't see the point, I think, of being, as I just said, the nurse, that when you get this alcoholic homeless person in and you fix their arm and you send them right out there again. Why am I supposed to fix someone who comes in tomorrow or the day after with the exact same problem? Like maybe you want to like invest in something where I want to see progress. Like when I do something, I want to see exponential progress. Like I don't want to see stagnation, like, you know, that it just repeats itself. So you see how you could have conflicting ideas here because of this and the values that are here. And this is what I say, that maybe you need to take yourself away from this. If this is family, that roots can be woundings, it's where you come from, it's what you've learned, it's the things that you have been programmed with, it's certain values, and therefore also right and wrong. Like within this world, within these waters, there are right and wrong. And within your world, there's also right and wrong. It depends on the values and what you're driven by. There's nothing wrong with water worlds. It just is what it is. Like fire, there's nothing wrong with fire. It is what it is. It's driven by something. It wants to achieve something. It wants to master something. It's masculine. This could be quite feminine, right? Feminine values, but maybe you are actually quite masculine. So your light, your fire is reflected directly from this. Maybe you don't have a masculine way of going forward. Sometimes masculine energy has to be sovereign, I want to say. It has to sometimes not listen. And I know it sounds maybe selfish or egotistical, but I think that people that want to peak, people that want to have success, people that want to, they can't always necessarily stop their endeavor every time someone is not agreeing with them. Or every time someone is saying you should be more humble, right? You can't get to that top if you are listening to that all the time. There can be ways of achieving the top that can be quite selfish and arrogant and egotistical. But there can also be endeavors here where you actually want to help people. Like you have a goal of being successful in an area where you can help people. Where you can be great, you say, but a great leader, that where you are like you're helping humanity in some way, or you're helping a group of people. Like your light could be, as I said, as a nurse, right? Or as a doctor or surgeon or something. You could shine your light in that hospital, helping people in need, right? Then you are combining these here. Trying to take the best from this realm with you, with your son, and then have the Wheel of Fortune, right? But if you are confused here, or if these are not, like working together, if this acts like a block, it could just as easily act as a stopper for your fortune here, your life fortune, right? That you could have a successful life. it can just as easily block you as it can act as a conduit. And maybe you have tried it, like maybe you have tried to be the nurse or the doctor where you are listening to this and it hasn't helped. Like you have become, like the wheel of fortune did not turn in your favor. It is upright, so I would say you've had some kind of fortune here. Maybe because you are combining this. Or, as I said, you're learning from maybe your greatest wounding. You're learning from that. And let it be mirrored in the son you have. And that is the reason why you have now, or that the wheel of fortune is coming in here for you. That you see progress. Can I get a clarifier here for this page of water? Queen of Ariel, mature, practical, generous, happy, nurture yourself and those you love, the ability to make anything more beautiful and practical, and advice. It's interesting, a page of water and a Queen of Ariel. What I get from this is, and it says mature, practical, generous, happy. And I just talked about a child, I talked about hierarchy, I talked about what it tells me is a child that grows up too fast. Like needing to become mature, practical, generous, nurturing those you love, the ability to do that, the ability to make everything more beautiful, trying to heal, but it's a clarifier, like trying to be. I think this is what you can learn. Like you can learn that you can mature this energy, right? That you can mature it. It can be turned into something practical. It has a generous nature, and it could make you happy. Let me get the bottom of the deck for these cards, because I feel like there's driving energy here. Something has happened before this. Yeah. Okay, so the driver cards is what I call underlying energy, the bottom of the deck for this reading. The driver energy, I see it as that this has been energy that has been driving a process forward where you are now here. But this has been before, right? This has been something that has been on your mind before. Ace of Air. This is a Pegasus. So this is like a magical creature. Ace of Air is like the Ace of Swords. It's an epiphany, or a new way of thinking. Maybe a weird way of thinking, or like you are allowing things to be true that may have a bit of a unnatural tone to it. And again, I said something like Pisces can have this, you can have access to realms that are not what normal people would call reality, that you have a way of accessing information that is otherworldly, or have a different character or a different nature. It could be a sense of a breakthrough or an epiphany here. A birth even, because the Pegasus is birthed from Medusa. That there could be a sense of like an epiphany, an opening. Maybe you had like a spiritual awakening. That's definitely an Ace of Air, like a new way of seeing things, a different, like a breakthrough to another realm. But it could also be like, I want to say a bit of an escape, because this has a direction to the, well, to the left, and left is usually the past. Like there could be maybe memories from the past or past lives, past knowledge, information about the past knowledge, information about childhood perhaps. But I feel birth also. It's like you're getting out of something. You're escaping something. Escaping the matrix, escaping an escape. Or a breakthrough of some kind, and it's giving you some kind of new information, or it could be a truth. Ace of Air can be like an epiphany about a truth, or even truth about your birth here. Where that could also be something like that. Like there could be, like maybe you are getting information or realizing something, remembering something about your own birth. Maybe you had a very troubled birth. Maybe when you were born, you were like this, like you were a Pegasus. You are not a normal horse, right? You are a different. That's what I feel like. Like if you were a horse, you could, like the water, right? If you were a horse, you would fit perfectly into the water round, but you're not a horse. You have wings here. You are a different species, right? It's like you are not a water species. You are a dragon, right? You are escaping the water here, perhaps, like, or you're getting out, or there's a truth that is telling you to change your ways. This Ace of Air can be like a truth, something you realized. Then we get another one, Lala here. She's called the Saint of Spoken Words. Every word I say becomes a prayer. I am the author of my own story. This is someone who is speaking something, writing something, saying something that comes from a particular truth here. Something you realized, something that has come to mind. Maybe like the Ace of Air can be this truth, this one memory, this one incident, this maybe birth remembrance, maybe a realization, a light bulb moment that I'm not a page of water here, right? I'm a different kind. I have my own way of thinking also. This can talk about severing yourself from one set of beliefs and having your own set. it's an individuation process here, like and speaking your mind, right? Speaking that mind. Um, and then interesting, now we have the King of Cups even in your crown position here. And I said it was, are you surrounded by water? And I want to say, yeah, you are, but they are turning up in different times. Like you have an epiphany, there is a truth you're speaking, but then this is in your mind space. It has been in your crown position. It has been something you have been occupied about. A King of Cups here. Someone you care about, something, maybe it's something, that has to do with who you are. Again, this feeling that it's like maybe a father here, a watery father figure. Maybe you're realizing something about, like you're initiating an individuation process. You speak your mind here, but then you are thinking about someone here. They are on your mind. This can be a father figure. It can be someone you care about a lot. But the King of Cups can be, well, they don't wear their emotions on their sleeve, but they have a big heart, right? I think you have been in an individuation process. You have been trying to get out of something here. You have been speaking here. And when you have been speaking and, like playing with words here, every word I say become a prayer. I am the author of my own story. Yeah, this is someone who definitely wants to like own who they are. Like I am in charge of my own story. I want to be the leader of my own story. So what I'm saying here is a prayer to become that, right? I am the author. And maybe because something in you wanted to break free here. A part of you wanted to break free here. Become that leader. And then you were thinking about someone here. And again, this can be you, right? Because I say you have roots of water. So maybe this is you. That you are a King of Cups. That you are, even though you have Leo energy in you somewhere, right? And even if you are a Leo sun, you want to be a kind one, perhaps. You want to be a considerate one. You want to be a loving Leo. You want to be a king that knows how to master water. You are in a process right now where you are dealing with water. I believe a true leader, like a true democratic leader, not an arrogant one that just is self-serving. A true leader has to face emotions, has to face, maybe emotions of others, has to be compassionate, has to be maybe generous, has to be considerate, right? When they are, especially when they are yielding Leo energy. Like I think Leo energy can take two routes. It can become very selfish, very self-serving, very arrogant, and just it wants to get to the top by all means, no matter what, and it doesn't care about what other people think. It wants to have status, it wants to have fame by all means. But then there's this other route, which I actually feel is also very Leo-like. It feels into the emotions also. It becomes, and therefore it becomes generous. It's willing to share some of its wealth. Because if Leo deep down has very good confidence, they are very generous. They know, they own the fact that they are big or bigger than others, that they have a lot of momentum. They know that they are yielding big power. So they can be generous. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to give something. They are not losing something by giving something. They are still powerful. If they have full-blown confidence, if they trust in themselves, if they know that they are powerful, if they know that they yield a lot of power here, they can definitely be generous because they have it. It's natural in them. It is a natural giving ability. It's not something that they don't have to cramp up like the Four of Pentacles. They are not worried that they don't have enough. They are not worried to lose their power. They own it. They stand in it. They speak it. They speak it every day, right? They speak it every day. So they don't need to be careful. They don't need to be afraid. They don't need to be worried. It's inbuilt, you could say. But if you at the same time are also very watery, as I said, you could have Pisces ascendant or rising sign. Your rising sign could be Pisces right here. I don't know why I get Pisces. I get Pisces. So you're yielding maybe a King of Cups here instead of maybe a King of Fire, meaning that the way you can shine is in the water field, right? You could shine in the water field, meaning that you could be very psychic. You could be extremely clairvoyant. You could have great success in that area. That's why I say that if you take the water and you reflect it with the Leo you have, your fortune could be made by through the water. Maybe you are a great counselor here. Maybe you have amazing counselor possibilities, relationship counselor, or because you do have this can come from the water you come from, right? That you can take the best from this realm, not necessarily the wounding, or maybe the wounding is exactly acting as the right amount of stopper for you. It's changing your fire. Because let's say you had fire here. Maybe fire and fire here could be a forest fire. Then it burns everything down. It becomes so big, and so this is where I talk about arrogance. It burns everything away just to have the momentum of success. Here you're learning something about humility. You're learning something about not always being the one who stands, or not always being in the spotlight. You can have others. You can be generous. Others can stand in the spotlight. Someone who is more narcissistic, or someone who is very self-absorbed, wants to stand in the spotlight all the time, have all the adoration. They would not leave the spotlight for someone else. What I see here is a democratic leader. I see someone who is able to let others have shine. They are generous because they don't fear their own fire. They know, but they also know what it requires. If you have to be in the spotlight all the time, and you only feel successful when you stand in the spotlight, it requires something. It requires for you to be perfect all the time. It requires for you to look perfect all the time, to be fit all the time, to be, handsome all the time, or beautiful all the time. You have to look perfect all the time. You have to be spotless all the time. You have to be amazing all the time. You have to perform perfectly all the time. But what if you don't have to do it all the time? What if you could let a colleague shine also? What if you could share, What if you could let others come forth? What if you could? This is what I call a democratic leader. The leader that sees potential in others, that can be humble for a moment and actually see, oh, this guy is amazing at analysis. Great. I wanna show this to the world. I am generous. I will tell the world, look at this person, how amazing they are. Because I will not lose status by showing off another colleague whom I am in awe over, because I see how amazing they are. I hate analysis, or I hate calculus. I hate this, but I see how they are amazing at this. Right? So I see a leader here that even though they may feel like what they have been, that there are sides to them that they may, you may have seen them like blocks, like I'm too emotional, or I'm not, I can't seem to, find my own momentum in that way. And I'm saying, yes, you can. It's just you have to embrace it. Embrace this Piscean energy in you. Let's say you have a Pisces moon, or your ascendant is or rising sign is Pisces. You can use this. It's not necessarily a stopper. It can be like a beautiful realm here, from where you can take certain knowledge, from where you can see the world differently than other Leos perhaps, right? You will become a different leader here. If you embrace who you are, you may see yourself more as a King of Cups, or you may even be looked at as a King of Cups. I said like before that the shine, it's like your light reflects from the water that you have within you, that it's given to you. That you become a leader that it reflects right back to you the same light, right? So you may have a watery light to you, but it's not a bad thing necessarily. It's just, it's not as aggressive as other Leos perhaps, but it doesn't mean that it's a bad thing. Of course, you may feel that it could be, and maybe at a certain point it could be difficult right now how to figure this out. If I do want to shine, I do want my Leo out here. This one, she's not, look at them, they're not the same. She's speaking her truth, but the glare around her here is not that big. So what if I want this to become big? What if I want to make a fortune here, or to have abundance somehow. Can I have abundance? Because I know that in the past maybe people saw me like this. Maybe I was a very good king here. Like I know that I have psychic abilities maybe. I know I am quite capable here. I'm a king here. I'm not a page, I'm a king. So in this realm, I own it. Like I'm really good at this, right? So what you are trying now is, and maybe that's why you have a page here. It's like, I can be successful in some area here, but I don't want to be a King of Cups, right? The King of Cups is a little shine here. I would like fortune also. I would like to be able to have a beautiful, abundant life here as well. So what happens is that it's like this king is learning something new, and therefore it becomes a page. All the things that where you feel a king here, a king that now focuses on fortune, this is another area. Again, you, as I said, in this realm here, I think you are a king. Like in this realm, I think you have beautiful skills here. You are maybe quite psychic. You do have force. Maybe you can foresee things. Maybe you are a seer. Maybe you have. Maybe you're very empathic here. Maybe you are clairvoyant. You can see things, or you can hear things, or you just know things, and you're very skilled at this, right? And now it's like it takes you from this, I feel like awakening or change. There's a change of mind here that gets you to speak or to think in a certain way where you want to own your own story. You know you're very good at this. You could be quite a good storyteller. Again, I get something about fiction, or, well, I don't think it's fiction for you, right? But for other people, it may be like a fiction about, unicorns and trolls, or, angels, or you like, if you take Peter Pan, for instance, right? That realm where Peter can fly, and he has this friend, Tinkerbell, and she has magical flying gold dust, right? Around like that, where something is magical and things can fly and things have wings here. So this can be an imaginary realm you have that you may speak about here, or you are writing something, you are playing with it, and you're very good at it, I think, here, right? You're very good at this. You could be quite a good storyteller in this, about this realm here. But then it's like, from this position, it's like you want to become maybe famous or have success in this area. And because you are now attempting maybe a fire, this is a fire endeavor. Now you become a page here, because this is not something your king is very good at. He's good at speaking, like telling stories. He's good at like being in this realm. This is his comfort zone here. Now he's learning something new, and therefore he becomes a page here. He's not very equipped yet to like deal with something like this. his comfort zone is here, right? Maybe in an imaginary realm, or in a realm of, or yeah, we call it imaginary, in a Pisces realm, I want to say, right? This is where he is very equipped. He is a king here. He feels he is quite at home in this, right? But when he is dealing with work, perhaps, or money, or success, or fame, or something, now he becomes small here. This can be why I had this feeling of like escapism, like, this is unfamiliar ground, right? I don't feel comfortable here. And maybe people feel it, they can see it, like you wanna shine like this, I feel like. Or you do have the power to do that, but you feel maybe not it. And again, it's an energy that needs to mature, right? It needs to be more practical. It needs to also allow yourself to be generous. Like when people are opening a new store, sometimes, what they do in the beginning is that they are, they could make a little shop, or they could market this boutique, right? They could market this by giving free samples. Like when you give free samples, you can have people taste your. If you have a cuisine here, you can give free samples of something. And when you do that, people can try it out, and then they can try it and see if they like it. And if they like it, they may come back and buy more, right? Or they tell it to their friends, and so the word spreads. Or if we talk about, let's say you have an endeavor online, then maybe it's not mouth to mouth like that, but it could be something like Trustpilot, that people give a feedback, and you have Trustpilot, 5-star Trustpilot, and it gives others who find your online store, for instance, or the mouth to mouth talk is now saying that, okay, we need to tell, like, or the mouth to mouth talk is accumulating, and now people are starting to come to your shop, right? They start to come to your to your shop, or to this realm, right? They're coming to this realm here because here you are a king, right? But what you are doing here is you are maturing and you're learning something here. It says nurture yourself and those you love. So yes, you need to nurture yourself, even if you feel failure. As I said, like even you feel like, but I don't know what this is. I'm embarking on some kind of endeavor here. I'm trying to build something more for myself maybe here, but I feel so immature here. I feel so unaccomplished. Because your realm of achievement, or where you feel comfortable, or where you feel that you are mature actually, or you feel like you are very successful, or you're comfortable here. You own this, like this is a realm that you feel comfortable in. What you are doing here is not something you feel comfortable in. This makes you feel like a page again. But you have to nurture yourself. Like you have the ability to make anything more beautiful. You have the ability to make it more successful. You have to mature and be a little more practical. And take practical and wise advice here. Allow yourself to be guided or to have an advisor or a teacher. I said that in the beginning, because what you are doing here is it's like you're trying to, yeah, I get a feeling still, this idea that you're trying to get some fire back, or you're trying to make yourself more known, or market yourself more, maybe. And this is something where you feel this is out of your league. Like this, it doesn't feel good. It makes you feel little, I feel like. But I think that you should lean on whatever advice you can have. Lean on again, there is some kind of confusion, I think, because, well, maybe you want success here, and then at the same time you want beautiful success. Like you want it to be have success in a kind way, right? You don't want to be a brutal warrior here. I feel like you want it to be still kind, and you still want it to be in a beautiful way. You want to be a kind victor, a kind victor. You want it to be you want it to be a beautiful success, not a brutal one, or yeah, that's what I feel like. You still want it to be a kind success. You still want to show up as generous and kind and understanding and everything. All this is still there. So this page here is an uncomfortable feeling for you. But that's what this breakthrough is doing. Like it's forcing you out of a comfort zone, I think, towards something. Like breaking free sometimes make you feel small again. Breaking free can make you feel small again, or unaccomplished, or you are facing your worst fears here, perhaps. Maybe some grief is coming up, or like the breaking free or a rebirth here may come with this feeling of being new, or a novice, or I'm not quite sure how to do this. Yeah, I get novice here. And you should take your time to just nurture yourself and what you love. Mature, but just take your time, I feel like. Mature and become practical and generous here in your own capacity, in your way. I feel like you are a queen here, but you feel like a page. This is so unfamiliar. You would like to be the queen. Like you would like to feel as comfortable as here, right? With what you are doing here, but I feel like it's because it conflicts. It's almost like kindness and healership and maybe clairvoyance and this idea of being humble and being a helper of humanity conflicts with like success and victory. It's like victory almost feels bad. Success almost feels bad. Like it's better to be a bit humble. That you can be successful, but still be humble. But then you can't shine like this. Like humble, being humble, this is humble. I feel like, yeah, there's a shine, But there's not like giant success here. Sometimes you may need to be a bit We say that nice guys finish last, right? Or maybe even also nice girls finish last, because being nice is an accommodating characteristic. It's an accommodating characteristic. But it's not a characteristic of a successor or a victor. A victor. Everybody who stands on the and get the Olympic gold medal has to, at some point, must decide to pursue it. That's just how it is. Like, at some point you have to decide to pursue it. Even though, you know, your training bodies are maybe not that competitive, or they are more, you know, like let's just have a good time, you know. Let's just have a good time. Let's just enjoy everything. Like, if you are competitive here, at some point you must decide to be competitive. Maybe you come from like an upbringing here where there's no competition. It's about peace and camaraderie. It's about like just having a good time, being more equal. You could say that it's about the peace in the home and the camaraderie and having a good time here. And you still have it, right? But you cannot be this, like, you cannot be a nice victor, like a, I guess you could be a nice king if you were born into kingdom. But if you are growing, you know, from, let's say, lack mentality into becoming an emperor, let's say that, right? At some point you have to choose that. Your camaraderie people here, your comrades with whom you have a nice time, and it's mediocre. If you want success, at some point you have to choose it. You have to choose to strive and leave this other behind. You may need to sacrifice this, I wouldn't say mediocre life, it sounds bad, but you know, like, at some point, if you really want success, if you really want to achieve like fortune here, abundance, fortune, money perhaps here, like, if you really want that, at some point you need to leave it behind. You need to leave the idea of being nice behind. You have to become a competitor. Then. Or you have to decide what fortune is for you. What if you could have fortune and be a nice ruler? Keep your nicehood here. Keep the camaraderie. Keep this okay life here. What if success can be found here still, you know? What if fortune can still be found here and your camaraderie is intact? You know that your comrades are still there. You haven't left it all. But you have to choose. Can the camaraderie be part of your fortune? Is it part of your fortune? Or will you have to leave it behind? Will you have to make, you could say, your previous comfort zone here? This must be maybe put aside, it's in the past, and maybe it must stay in the past. Because if you want a different kind of success, if we talk about like huge money here, you need to become a striver. We cannot, like mediocre doesn't work. Mainstream doesn't work. Like you have to put everything in to becoming this Olympic winner. Like they put things aside to train to become this Olympic swimmer, or to, like, you need to put things aside to like really focus on this. You cannot the niceness in you has to be small. Maybe that's what this is talking about, the page. The niceness in you has to be small. You have to make it smaller. We could even say that this talks about less focus on the water and more focus on the striving or the strength or the endurance for this Wheel of Fortune, because you can't be small and be big at the same time. So this could be a voice in you that has to become smaller. Like it has to not, it doesn't have to, like once this was everything. We could talk about someone having like huge empathy here. And this was always on your mind in the crown position. It was always on your mind. Everything you do was, it was everything you showed the world. It was how you were thinking. You were led by your intuition. You were led by your empathy. You were led by all your intuitive gifts, your clairvoyance, or even your foreseeingness or foreseeing abilities. It was leading your way. But it was very kind and nice and empathic and very, nice girl, nice guy. You're very good at this. And you are attempting something else here, I feel like. And here it feels, first of all, it feels off, but I also feel like you have to make it smaller. Like this has to become smaller to mature something else here. So either, you feel like a novice, that you are attempting something here, but you feel like a novice. You feel like maybe even that you have to mature quickly, right? That you have to get over this state very quickly and become this Queen of Ariel. Look at her, like she's dressed in a golden robe here. She looks quite luxurious, I want to say. Living in a very luxurious life. There are beautiful roses here, crystal chandeliers, well set table with big flowers and maybe luxury, I get a sense of luxury to her here. Like becoming or embracing this idea of having luxury, and this feels strange perhaps. learning to become such a queen here very fast, maybe. But at this point in time, you may feel like it's awkward to embrace something like that. It feels, again, I get something about like the income level, like this and this would go together. This is a successful income level, like having a lot of luxury in your life here, a lot of abundance, a lot of luxury. I feel like luxury items, fashion, clothes, very expensive lifestyle. But this lifestyle is maybe not what you have been raised with. Right? Maybe you were raised in more humble settings and with different values. And you're trying to attempt to, escape. I feel like, moving out of that into another mindset here. But it comes with this feeling that I get the feeling it's awkward or strange. You have to get out of this mindset, this novice mindset, and mature your energy. So this could act like a block. Like you could feel that that something is prohibiting you from getting to your dream life, this abundant luxury life, maybe, right? But try to look at it like how, because sometimes this can be a protector, right? It's protecting you from maybe selfishness. It's protecting it. It's asking you, are you sure you want to do this, right? Because then you leave some of this behind. Are you sure you want to do this? Because sometimes, as I say, it's like to be the Olympic gold medal winner, you have to become very competitive. Like the goal here, the luxury goal here, the gold medal here, has to become your everything. And maybe it's, maybe it's not, it's still in the page state. Like it hasn't really developed yet. It's still in a maturing phase of, and I think you are confronted with like old beliefs of that this is, like it can even be something about like money is the root of all evil. Rich people are bad, or something like that. Like that there is some kind of belief here that is questioning all of this. Like spotlight, fame doesn't equal happiness, things like that. And you could be like facing that, right? Like this is just this, it's like a reminder or something. Are you sure you want to do this? Or is there a way of having success without being or without feeling bad? Yeah, it's almost like attempting success here on your own, or a luxury life could make you feel bad. Because something, I feel like this is your roots. It's like you were raised with this, or it's so, it's a big part of you here, actually. Or there's something about a father here, father values that that you can, that is, it may feel like a block. Or that when it all comes down to it, actually you and your father are pretty much the same thing. As it says here, it says, we are all sacred mirrors reflecting back the same light. So maybe you're realizing you're more like your father here. You know? That you're actually more like your father than you thought, that you cannot just pursue your fire here. That like you can hear the voice in your head. So like, yeah, it can feel like a block. And either you stay here or you mature out of it. And I don't think there's anything wrong with any of them. Like a King of Cups is beautiful in their way. Like in their universe, certain rules apply. And this guy feels amazing with them. Like he thrives in here. But maybe you don't, right? And that's what I talk about. It's like, but you could be realizing that you actually have more of this water in you than you would like. The Goddess of Light. Can I have one more card on this one, please? I don't feel like this is the best card, but it says 7 of Air here, reversed. Seven of Swords. 7 of Swords is a... Well, 7 of Swords upright like this are lies and betrayal. But when it's reversed, I get the feeling that you would like that the lies are over. You don't want to lie anymore. You don't want to... You are the Goddess of Light. Again, the spoken word. Things has to come to light. I want to get it out in the open. I want to show that this is me. I don't want to pretend. I don't want to keep up a mask. I don't want to lie. And I don't want others to lie to me. Like those around me, I don't want to lie to them about who I am, right? I don't really want to lie to them. But there may have been lies. I don't want to live on a life. Again, there's something you realized here. The Ace of Air is like a truth or something. You figured something out. And you don't want to be lied to anymore. You don't want to be part of a lie. You don't want to... You want to get out of that. But you may, again, realize that there are certain feelings here that may make it difficult to leave, right? But at the same time, this is in the center, so it's an important card. You have decided, I feel like, you have decided that you want to shed light on something, or you don't want to lie anymore, you don't want to dim your light anymore, or you don't want to wear a mask anymore. You want to mature this part of yourself into this queen who knows her worth, who is like, who has great self-worth, who sees herself as a queen, who owns it, she's wearing it, who wants to surround herself by beautiful settings. You want to move into, like, again, there's breach, like a round breacher. You want to be the one in your family perhaps that succeeds out of a mediocre income level. You want to be the one that succeeds. You want to be the one that turns the wheel here of fortune. You don't want to lie anymore. You don't want to dim your life. You don't want to be mediocre here with a bit of shine. No, you want them to know everything here. You want them to see that you can do this, right? You want to prove yourself. But there's something that one needs maturing here. It's undergoing some kind of change here. Your roots is undergoing a change. From Page of Water to the Queen of Ariel, this is a big change. So what are we experiencing with the Page of Water here? Yeah, I get thunder here. Yeah. You're going through a thunderstorm because this is so different. Like this new endeavor you are on here, what you are awakening to, it makes you feel so. This page here, like you feel so little, you feel so small. Your Page of Water here has to, again, as I said, you could be an empath, you could be very good and have very psychic abilities. Now you are in a competitive world, or you are attempting to, perhaps. And it feels like a thunderstorm, like your feelings here are going through something. Maybe you're angry with your roots, right? Maybe you're angry with how it makes you feel in a competitive world. Maybe you are angry with them. Maybe they are angry with you. As I said, you don't want the lies. You don't want to lie anymore. You don't want any kind of betrayal. You don't want to. You want things out in the open. But when you do, things come to the surface here. I don't think this page feels well, like a novice, or feels alone. Again, there's some kind of breach here. It's like you're rebirthing yourself. You're getting yourself out of something. An awakening, a new start of something. And because of that, it's like you are in this novice place. And to become this Queen of Ariel here is a thunderstorm. It feels like you have to turn every piece around, turn that, like, everything you knew, everything you've learned, everything you feel like you are. You have to take off the mask. You don't want to hide anything. You want to stand in this light here, right, of who you are. But you also may feel that everything is just reflected right back at you. So, like your sensitivities, your psychic gifts, maybe you feel like they are dimming. Like once they were very big here, maybe you feel like you're losing them. Or it's becoming smaller. You have to make them smaller to seek success in some kind of area here. An area where there are no masks, where you have no ego, perhaps. Like you're not hiding anything, you're not wearing any kind of mask. Can I have a card on the Wheel of Fortune? Because now I'm asking myself, what is abundance for you? What is like triumph or success. What is that? Maybe it's freedom, right? Maybe that's abundance. Maybe that's the Wheel of Fortune. Maybe it's money. Let's have a look here. Yeah, look at this. The attachment card reversed. Yes, you want to free yourself. You want to detach. You want to free yourself. You don't want to be attached to something that keeps you. Look at how the gray this world is, how change is. You don't want to be chained to something. Like the Wheel of Fortune would be freedom, I think. Not being attached to anything. Not feeling attachment. Not feeling, maybe the feelings of others. Not being attached to an outcome. Just being free, I think. But not wanting to lie about it. Like you would like to be able to just say it out loud. But then you get a bad conscience here, right? Or you have trouble saying it. Or this page of water, a sensitive little Pisces page perhaps here is, again, as I said, it could be your ascendant. It could be a moon sign. And then I think, again, it's asking you, is it really what you want? Do you want attachment? Do you want freedom? Because what does that actually mean? If we are totally away from family or close friends or something, we can, be also away of judgment. But we are also away from any help they could provide. This could be the feeling of having no safety net. Like going through like the wilderness of that, this feeling that I'm all alone now. But here I feel quite supported. I'm a king here. I feel quite comfortable here. But now I'm in this novice land. It's like I'm in a totally different environment. I'm suddenly in this competitive world. And what I'm looking for is not being attached to something. Not being bound by something here. She's chained here. She's imagining herself somewhere else here. But she can't get out. It's all just, But I do think you have this. Like you do have an imaginary realm where you can create in your mind like a fantasy, a sense of escape. But you may actually want a real one, like a physical, real escape here. And attempting this rebirth is, it comes with a sense of thunder. And the thunder can be within you. It can be external, of course, from those around you, but it can also be within you. Like an inner conflict, inner dilemmas, inner paradoxes, inner feelings of, as I said, you're the worst person ever, bad conscience, people don't get it, like criticism and quarrels or discussions. And it could also conflict, like from a page to a queen of luxury here, right? That you, like vanity and all kinds of stuff, that you go through feelings here. Feelings of that what you are attempting here, what you are attempting is maybe egotistical. Maybe it's considered egotistical. Maybe it's considered selfish. Maybe it's considered that this is vanity, that you should stay and help your family or something, that you should be involved, that you should be entangled, you should be like involved with that father here or something watery, like watery. It's emotional, it's an emotional connection. It feeds off devotion and loyalties and love and, but also guilt and shame and like a bad conscience and things like that, duties and obligations and something like that. So the thunder here is that there's something conflicting between this one and this one. But you need this one, you could say, to probably pursue this and this. Again, look at this like you need to like change your convictions and start imagining yourself in a place like this as opposed to in a place like this. But yeah, you will have inner alignment issues here. Because it feels so far away from this. And this one feels a bit alone and again, like a child again, like feeling alone and like a child again. But again, the page can be a rebirth, like being a child again, then you have a possibility of rebirthing. Can I have one more card on this page of water? What the thunder is about, maybe. So again, I get Queen here, Queen of Pentacles, and we have another Queen here. The same thing, right? The Queen of Pentacles it's about money, it's about worth. It can be about luxury, value. I feel there's something about confidence, building your own sense of value. Queen of Pentacles is usually a very, very attractive queen because she has it all, right? She could have her own business, so she takes care of her own stuff. She is accomplished, she is successful. Again, she is not a page, she is a queen. She could be like an empress here. She owns her own stuff. She has invested in her own future. She knows her worth. She's capable. She could have someone here and like an advisor. I have someone here too, like over here there's also someone. So actually she's not alone. Here it may seem like it, right? But there could be an advisor or something here that is present. she could be a queen of her own kingdom, so it means that she could be like self-employed, she could have her own business. She has her things together. And it seems like, I want to say a lot of it, right? There's a lot of focus on, I feel like luxury or money, perhaps here, money. But it could also be worth, self-worth. Maybe status. Like a Queen of Pentacles, as I said, she can be established in the competitive world, perhaps here. She's not like this, right? She's free, this one. And look at how colorful it is, right? That there's color and beauty, and I feel like heart also with the green color here. It's practical, grounded, and beautiful here. So this Page of Water is going through a process, a change, and it may feel awful actually. It feels threatening perhaps. You go through all your fears. It's a big change towards this queen-like experience where you are freeing yourself from something. Can we have another card on this Wheel of Fortune here? So I get Ace of Michael here. So this is a new start. Ace of Swords. We have Ace of Air also here. It says a wonderful new idea. Don't allow bumps in the road to hinder your progress. Clear up communication problems with others. Yeah, it's like a fresh new start, right? Detaching and then a fresh new start here. New ways of thinking. Look, he stands on the top here. Wonderful new possibilities, new ideas to start, and she could be a businesswoman here, right? Don't allow bumps in the road to hinder your progress, and that's what I feel like. It takes also, I feel like this Wheel of Fortune takes a clear mind. As I said in the beginning, or as I said earlier, I said something like, if you want to be this Olympic gold medal winner, at some point you have to make the choice here. You have to make the choice to actually be it. And leave other obligations or something behind here. Or old again, in this, I feel like with this, there could be this feeling of like, from the water around here, something like kindness and love is the way forward. But that feels so hindering to you. Like it feels like you are chained to a, let's say it's like being chained to a Bible that is not yours, right? Like all the values there are not, yeah, at some point you have to make the choice, right? To be competitive instead, I want to say. At some point you have to choose competition and take off the mask of being like a. That's what she's doing in Divergent, right? And it's actually interesting because in the Divergent film, the main character grows up with her brother in this family in one of the factions where it is quite humble. They live humble lives. They have no vanity. They don't have mirrors, so they can't, like look at each other. They don't there's nothing about fashion, clothes, or hairstyles. It's very modest. It's very humble. They live a humble life of being helpers and servers to others. Very, they grow their own vegetable. It's very ecological and very almost peasant-like life. It's very quiet. There are many values about peace, harmony, balance, things like that. But it's just like there's something within her. Like she is not this. That's what I feel like. She's not the horse, right? There's something with her. Like she is different, right? So all the values that she has been taught, everything she knew, that well, it's great and good, but she doesn't feel right here. She doesn't feel any satisfaction here. Like it doesn't seem like her life purpose to be like that. So when they get of a certain age, these children, they get to choose if they want to stay in the faction they have grown up in, or whether they want to change into a different faction. But when they've made that choice, they cannot come back. She decides now to enter, to leave the faction that she comes from and live a totally different life now. It's a very active, she joins the faction that is known as the police force. It's very athletic, it's very fightery. They're very strong, they're very vibrant, they're very physically strong. She comes from this vegan life, and now she is entering a group. They eat meat. They need muscle strength and power and speed and everything. It's a very different life. But it actually turns out later in the film that her mother actually comes from that faction. And she decided when she was young to leave that faction and join the other one. And that's what it says here, something about we are all sacred mirrors reflecting back the same light. So there's something in maybe one of your parents that is reflecting this fire, right? That because it can't be it can't be dimmed forever. Eventually it will show itself. And I feel like in this case it's like where you come from here is not like it's not satisfactory to you. I think something is missing. It's not that this is bad, it's just that it's maybe a bit boring. Like you need something else, or you need like a spark of something that that when you have to live there in the water, it makes you feel like this. It makes you feel chained. It makes you feel it's dull, it's grey, nothing is really happening. It's way too draining, like it drains your energy out of you. And I think this happens on both sides. Like if the fire people have to live with a lot of fire, it drains their energy out of them. It's that simple. Like it's what you are inside. If you are fire inside, you need to engage with something fiery and masculine and competitive. There has to be a sense of conquering to it, or a sense of competition maybe, or that's just what it is. It can't be feminine here, right? And I think that for Leos who have been dimming their light, eventually it comes to the surface. There's nothing wrong with your energy. It is what it is. I just feel like we should be more tolerant about this with each other and more respectful. We can definitely respect these guys here. They are beautiful healers, right? And mothers and fathers and things like that. It can be very peaceful and calm here. We need that from time to time when we are hurt, wounded, right? We need people like this. But we also sometimes need conquerors, right? We need those that actually fight for the peace sometimes. We need the soldiers that fight for the peace, right? We need that too. So if you want to be a soldier that wants to protect the boundaries, or the boundaries of your country, right? To protect the peace in it, then you become one of the warriors that are standing at the borders, right? Protecting it. And others may not understand why you would put yourself on the line like that, but it's because you have to, right? It lightens up your life. It frees you. It frees this fire. Finally, it can be used for something. Finally, it's good for something. Finally, it's actually useful. Finally, it actually has worth, right? That's what I feel like. And you're going through some kind of change here, or facing something here. And it feels like a thunder. It feels like a thunderstorm to like raise your confidence up. To actually become brave enough to say, I'm out of here. I cut those chains. I am seeking my own fortune here. I become the fool, right? I become the fool. I become the fool. The fool is Aries energy also. Carpe diem. Here I come. I have to face it no matter what. Even though I am the novice, even though I don't know exactly how to do this. I don't want to play games. I don't want to wear a mask anymore. I want to be me. And I want to find my way to success. I don't want to be chained. I want to make this choice, right? I want to have this new beginning. I want to rebirth myself. I want to be able to stand on the top here of the mountain and say, I told you so, or I did it, right? I want to have this success. And I don't want to let anything stand in the way of it. And I think this is a choice that has to be made with all competitors. At some point, if you truly want to win, like you have to get down with that. Like you really have to own it. Or you have to adjust your fortune wheel here. Like if you're not willing to like shove aside everything and don't let any bump stand in your way, like whatever it takes, whatever thunder you are asked to go through, if you're willing to do that, you will have your success. I'm pretty sure of that. You will unchain yourself here. You will have this, that you stand on the peak here, on top of the mountain, right? You will have it, but you need to choose it. You have to choose it and don't look back. even though others may be, a father here may be disappointed, or even though there are shame or guilt or something concerning the fact that you are seeking your own wealth here, that you are seeking your own employment. Let's say this is a gender thing, that women in your country, for instance, can be self-employed, that only men can, right? Only men can. So even attempting being a woman who wants to be like independent and having her own business and stand on her own feet, being independent like that, maybe that in itself is like really like not normal. Maybe it's not even, legal in your country. Maybe you don't. Maybe you will have no help. There will be nobody funding you or financing you. There will be nobody helping you. Maybe this talks about, like a release from a border. Maybe you have escaped into another country. And in that country, you can speak your words. In that country, you can be an independent woman. But you may still have thoughts about this one. Like this one could still have influence on you, right? Because I do think that these are your roots. You come from water, or you were born into water. So this is what you know. This is what you've always known. And I think this page is going through a change here to become or to build up her own worth, to mature, to be practical also, to be, a mature or grown woman, independent, and wanting to stand in that light, not wearing a mask, detaching from all kinds of obligations, right? And you have to do that. Like that, I feel like to get that gold medal that you're looking for, to peak here, to stand on the top here, to peak, to get the gold medal, to have success, to get this wheel of fortune spinning in your favor, you have to choose it. Like this round of readings, I all the way back from Aries, I felt like there was something particular, and it says in the Aries reading, it said distinct and extinct. So it's something very particular and also something extinct. So like a flame that has been extinct, or a desire that has been extinct. That this is what you're trying to awaken again. And I feel like all these readings are about this. It's about something that has been almost extinct, or it has been so far away from you, so little. Again, as I said, you grow up in water. In the water there are no flames. So flames cannot exist here. So to get it back, you have to choose it. Like you have to leave it behind. Knowing you will be a novice, knowing it will be difficult, knowing it will be strange, knowing it will not be what you maybe feel comfortable in. But you have to do it anyway. Nobody gets to the top by being nice guy or mediocre. It doesn't work like that. It takes a sense of self-worth. It takes focus. It takes determination. And it also takes that you're not, that you don't feel a bad conscience to leave something behind. And from other people's perspective, this can look like it's very selfish or arrogant. But you have to get over that. Like, you have to leave, like, whatever they may mean has nothing to do with your endeavor. This is yours. And you're trying to awaken something, to get that flame going again. So actually you're trying from the water to get a flame going, which is not normal, but that's what you're trying to do. And yes, maybe you do need thunder. Maybe you do need lightning to create a flame again. So maybe you do need this. The thunder can be anger, right? That you feel anger. Anger about you not having an opportunity to have more self-worth or stand on your own 2 feet or become self-employed or become independent. Maybe you need to feel that anger here. Anger is also fire. So maybe this page has to become angry enough to do this. That's what I feel like is here. But we cannot stay nice guys or nice girls and buddies, and then expect to be a gold medal winner. No. To be the gold medal winner, you need a teacher or a coach, right? Like, gold medal winners have certain coaches. It's not their mother and father. Not necessarily, at least. No. It's a coach that is like their primary goal is to get you good enough to win the gold medal. They will be this pep talker, right? They will come in with all they know, all the help they can give you to get you to the top. You need, in this case, I feel like, to get an ally, someone who knows how to get people successful. Or you need to listen to people like that. Or mimic other successful people who have power. Like, how do they think? What is their mindset? You have to see yourself as a winner, a victor. You have to, like, imagine and think and, like, convince yourself that you are this, that you stand on the peak here. You must imagine yourself as sovereign. No competitor can even match you, I really think this is the mindset of such a presence, such a majesty, right? Or such a leader, such a CEO or something. It takes a certain mindset. You can't stay the nice guy, mediocre nice guy, camaraderie level, and expect to peak the top. Sometimes you have to leave, like, mediocre behind and decide to go for the top, but you may need help right? You may need something that can help you get there. Can we have an advice, please, here in this case? I feel like someone wanting to stand in the light, someone wanting to like embrace this power. An advice card. So I get the envy card here, and the envy card is something like be aware of other people's envy, or even your own envy, right? That this idea that it is that the grass is greener on the other side, and where I am is terrible. Like she stands in here and looks out here and believes that on the other side the grass is greener. So she here is this one, right? Like this one stands here and is very envious on what's on the other side. But I just feel like, again, there's this voice here that says, are you sure you want to go there? Because when you get there, and when you stand in this fame, or when you go here, there is this possibility of being absorbed by power, right? Absorbed by power, absorbed by vanity, absorbed by your own greatness. And I think this one is here maybe to remind you of this, like it may seem like a bump in the road, but also, when you strive for the top here, and you want to cut these ties or these change here. You would like the Wheel of Fortune, but maybe this one is here to just adjust this a little bit. That is it by all means that you want to get there, or because when you have gotten to this side, there is no privacy. You are in the spotlight now. The fame is here. You will be recognized in the streets. Where here you may be an anonymous person longing for spotlight, but when you are here, also know that you cannot have privacy again. You cannot go back. It's when you are here, when you become the gold winner. As I say, the gold medal winner, in order for them to be able to keep their spotlight and their fame, and maybe their fortune, or maybe their money flow, they have to stay there. They have to stay fit. They have to stay strong. They have to stay up. They can't be lazy. They cannot be mediocre again, right? Then they lose this sense of fortune. That the fortune here comes with the fame. It comes with the spotlight, with the adoration, with the power perhaps, with the money flow perhaps. But it's like when you stand here, you will not have privacy again. People will stalk you in the street, looking for your autograph, right? When you get here, and you have to maintain it, like to get this kind of spotlight, you have to maintain it. You have to stay fit. You have to stay beautiful. You can't age, right? Aging is a terrible thing because you can lose it all. You can lose your strength, you can lose your power, you can lose your beauty. Then you need cosmetic surgery. You have to keep it up. So when you're looking for fortune here, what kind are you looking for? Because there are kinds where, yes, you can have money flow, but still stay a bit anonymous. But you could also get your fame by actually standing fully in that light here. But you have to stay there. Your performance have to be like over the top all the time. You have to be perfect all the time. You have to deliver a perfect result every time. you know. You can't fail. If you fail, you get out of the spotlight again. Your fortune here, if that is your success criteria, then you will be mediocre again because someone else has taken your place now. Someone else is stronger, faster, or something, right? Maybe that's why the thunder is here, right? Because what it is asking you is maybe ground your energy a little bit. It's earthy energy here. You can ground it a little bit. Ground your energy, right? Because if you get too quick, too up, or too high, you can also have a big low. So it's, I think that what the page is asking you here, or what you feel like your father, like it may be in your head here, like you can hear his voice or something. It's asking you to, again, it's an advice card. Be aware of your envy here. What is it exactly you're envying? Because also get aware of how do these people live. Like to have this success, it requires a certain mindset and dedication. For let's say this is a business. If you truly want to be a successful business owner here, like this one, if you truly want that, this becomes now your top priority in your life. You can't dream. You can't sit and dream. You can't be in a fantasy realm. You cannot sit and talk to your angels here. No, you have to get down to business and facts and calculus and money flow and bottom lines. You have to learn about this stuff. Right? So be careful of what you are envious of here. This is the advice card. What is it that you are actually envious of? Because this cornucopia, or this idea of wealth here that you are thinking about, it's not, maybe it's not what you want. Like, are you sure? What if you are actually quite satisfied in the dreamy realm here? What if you like this realm? Like, do you like calculus? Do you like to, like this whole idea of being very grounded and very earthy and very business-like? It's going to require something of you, so you better have to be sure that that you find the right way. And you better have to be sure that you want that spotlight. And from who do you want the spotlight? What if you could become a writer here? As I said, you can keep your imaginary realm. You can write about that. Maybe you could have your fortune there. Let's say you write romantic novels here. Maybe even romantic novels that include, otherworldly creatures. Like Beauty and the Beast, or that there is a beautiful woman and there is this troll or Godzilla, right? And the beautiful woman, and there's this love between them, even though they're different species, right? What if you could combine this? The fame that you want here, what kind of fame? Or what kind of fortune is it that you want here? Or in other words, what is abundance for you? What does it mean to stand on the peak here? What have you achieved when you stand here? I think primarily it talks about freedom. Freedom from something. Yeah, this is what I have, Leo. I hope this helps somehow. Take care of yourself out there. You could be trying to, like awaken your own instinct flame here. To fight for your own freedom. Or to fight for whatever you are here. And it may feel like it's a bit extinct, like it's almost not there. And good for you if this is what you're doing, right? That you're trying to awaken yourself again. Or awaken yourself up to life, like awaken yourself up from, I feel like not living, like it feels like being in a prison, like you're not living here, to actually living, right? Living, it's just how, I feel like how, and what does it include exactly? Yeah, this is what I have. I hope this helped. Take care of yourself out there, Leo. I send you my very best. Love and light to you. Bye bye.